this guy's documenting the progresses until 2000 ELO, hopefully. And yeah, I thought it was quite nice. You could see the teaching methods and how this guy progresses. And at the same time, I also saw there was this post on Reddit by a guy who plays Hive, who said he was been playing for a few months and watching the YouTube videos, like reading the books and stuff, and still gets beaten all the time. And he was very frustrated. So I thought, okay, let's do something. Let's try to share a bit of my knowledge. I mean, I haven't won any world championship, but I've been playing for like 6-7 years, and I've got to the quarterfinal 2 years and the semifinal another year. I think I have a bit of experience now. So yeah, and in general, I like to teach and YouTube videos and stuff. So I am, yeah, I wrote on Discord and Facebook and looking for some motivated students. Well, at least one, and I got 3. So yeah, even if the time zone is maybe not the best, but maybe we'll try to make it work. I think you were the most motivated ones, and you started play very recently, all 3 of you. I think you didn't start. You started like not longer than a month ago, right, or something like that.
Beginning of the year.
It's Christmas
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah, probably 3 weeks for me.
Which is actually crazy, because I've seen your games and I was like expecting to start from the very basics, but you play already quite well, I think. Do you want to say something about yourself just quickly? Like you said you started not long ago. Do you have any experience with other games? Like you have pre-experience with chess or something else?
Who specifically?
I don't know, like Dimer first.
Okay, so I've only lightly dabbled in chess. I've managed to beat my 8-year-old child, so that's good. But
good start.
And,
sometimes children are very good.
Yeah, beginner's luck goes a long way, honestly. Yeah, and I enjoyed chess puzzles and puzzles of any nature. So Hive was very attractive to me for that. From that point, and I play a lot of Carcassonne, which is not directly related to this, but the aspect of everyone kind of seeing the game state as it is right now. There's not like hidden cards or tiles. You can see where the game is at any moment. Is really what's attractive to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been playing it almost possibly too obsessively in the last month, as Obscure could probably tell you, because we've had quite a few games.
Yeah, I think me and you played probably at least 20 to 30 games alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can become quite addictive, I know. I mean, like many other games, but yeah, I think that the perfect information, like the combinatorial nature of the game, I think to me is very attractive. To other people, it might be less. They will prefer a bit of luck or a bit of other factors in, but we can talk about that as well. Obscure.
So I have no real experience with any kind of abstract strategy game. I played a little bit of chess. I know how the pieces move. I actually just learned what El Paso, or however you say that, was like 2 days ago. So it just shows you how little I know about chess.
Okay.
I got into this because I was hanging out with some buddies late one night, and he pulled the game out. And first time I played it, and after that, I just went home, immediately bought it, and then figured out how could I play it online.
Okay, cool. Allergy meds, which actually is known as Scotty, right? On
Yes. I don't have any experience with abstract strategy games at all. The only, I guess, strategy game that I really play is Magic the Gathering. I've been playing that off and on since '97, and yeah, I got into Hive because it just looked really fun. I like the little bugs.
It goes along
Yeah.
with the visual aspect.
Yeah, it does. But I heard people actually that are kind of put off a bit by the bugs. Although I feel
Crawlies.
they are quite cute.
Creepy
I mean,
crawlies,
I really I don't like bugs in real life. Not definitely it's not my thing. But little cute and colorful ones, why not? So no, I mean I ask about chess because I think a lot of chess player become very quickly good at Hive, and they're probably more likely to get attracted. Although even like a chess player, kind of, there are two categories: the kind of elite, no elite, and no, that's not what I want to say. Like an elitarian, how you say, elitist like chess player who want to play just chess, and chess is the best game in the world, and there's nothing else. But I think there's another group of chess player that is interested in games in general, and I think Hive it can be very quickly attractive to them. But it's not like a prerequisite or anything. Like it doesn't matter. A lot of stronger players have never played other games before, or they've never played chess or whatever. So it's just a game like another one, but it's pretty addictive. Yeah. So I mean, I think this first time is mostly to I don't know, to talk a bit about the game in general and a bit of like a general tips. And if you have any questions or anything particular you want to ask, and then I think from next time I'll prepare something like a proper lesson sort of, and yeah, I think the last maybe 20 minutes today or at the end we'll have a look at a couple of games that you played. For example, I played a game today against Dimer, and I think there were quite educational moments there, quite instructive moments. So we can have a look at it if you agree, so we can see what are your like how he thought during the game, how he was thinking, what was his thinking process, and yeah, and in general, I think we can do that kind of every time. I don't know if every week, every 2 weeks, we'll see, whenever. Plus, I think I'll show you some like position from other games in the past that I think are particularly interesting. I have a sort of a program, but it's kind of flexible, so I don't know, it's up to you and how you, I don't know if you want to learn something specifically. But we'll start kind of from the basics and then have each session a different theme, different topic, and yeah, and see how it goes. I don't know. What do you think?
Sounds good to me. I know me and Dimer were talking just yesterday about how we're probably trying to push too fast into some higher end concepts while we're still trying to understand the basic concepts.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think you got quickly quite good. I mean, not all of you have a BGA. Do you have a BGA account? Yeah.
Yes.
You are around 100, 200 elo or something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, actually, my elo now is pretty bad, but it's around 500. But I got up to like 700. I think you can quickly get to 500. But actually, I was talking to Dimer about this today, I think. So correspondence games are very different from real-time games.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost two different set of skills, right? Of course, if you get better at one, it will definitely transfer to the other one. And you don't. I think you don't have to force yourself to play into very short time control games. I know. I mean, we kind of working on this. Like they're working on this new platform, and the idea is that you can quickly get onto a game, and it would be very easy to play blitz games, which are very popular in chess. But you don't have like to feel that kind of pressure, you know. You can try for fun, but it's not. At least, I mean, a lot of the things that I probably will say are transfer from chess, because I have way more experience in chess than Hive, but I think it's pretty similar. That you don't learn very much if you play minute with 2 or 3 minutes. It's fun, and it could be, I don't know, it could be an experience, and I don't know, many times you play these games just to get stuff off your mind. I don't know, like like to relax, sort of. but which also means though that you're not really thinking. It depends. If you take it seriously, okay, it could be fine. But at that point, why not to play with a longer time control, right? So I think at least 10 minutes is a good place where to start. But also a correspondence game even better. Honestly, I play much better real time than correspondence, but because I don't know, I just maybe if I have too many games at the same time, I don't want to spend too much time on each of them, and then I end up playing my move while I'm on the bus, or in the toilet or something. and I play a crappy move. While if I play just real time, I feel like, okay, I'm very focused on this, and it's much better. Obscure, do you want to say something? Sorry.
Yeah, I just didn't want to interrupt you. I was going to say I kind of feel the same way about correspondence. Sometimes I find myself, if I'm stepped away from it too long, you come back and you're wondering where your head was at last time you were looking at the board. And there's been plenty of times where I've just not even noticed there was a beetle on top of the hive because it's been just too long. You think that he's pinned. So, yeah, I think there is something to correspondence can sometimes lead you to making mistakes if you don't go back in the history a few moves or really study the board each time you open it.
Yeah, I agree. Or even sometimes you forgot what was your plan. Sometimes
Absolutely.
it's like the last 2 moves were in a certain direction, and then you don't remember anymore, and you end up mixing up plans or changing plans after 2 or 3 moves, which of course is usually not a good idea. And probably in a real-time game would not happen because unless you have really like you get distracted for some reason, and 5-10 minutes you probably are focused there and you know what's happening.
I found that the nice balance for me is like half attention, like somewhere in between the correspondence and the 10-15 minute games. I mean, we have the correspondence on the side, but it's still like we have an understanding.
You can also set up a game for like 20 or 30 minutes per player, which is still okay. In the World Championship, I don't know if you have seen something or you know something about the World Cup that we play online. The time control is 20 minutes plus 20 seconds for the first games at the beginning. So the structure is kind of similar to the Football World Cup. So there are 32 players split in 8 groups, and then the top 2 go to the elimination phase. And we play most of the time, I mean, now it's established that we play 2 games per match at least to balance white and black, right? To balance the first player advantage. And the time control is 20 minutes plus 20 seconds, which means that the game could average last around an hour, but it could go up to an hour and 20 to an hour 30 minutes, depends if the game gets very long, like if there are a lot of moves. And then from the quarterfinals, I think, or semifinals, I can't remember, it goes up to 30 minutes plus 30 seconds. And 30 seconds per move is quite a lot. An average game of Hive is 60 semi-moves, 60 plies, so 30 moves per player, basically. Which means that it's like extra 30 minutes again. So it starts from like an hour and a half, and some games actually were like almost 3 hours long. So, I mean, it's an extreme case, but what I mean is you can go for a bit slower time control if you want. And then I think the speed comes with experience. It's just, it's pattern recognition. So the more you see a position, the more intuitively you know what to do. But of course, at the beginning, right now, you need to like put your thoughts into like something concrete, something practical. and you need time to do that. What else I wanted to say? Well, I mean, you know that already, but one of the best ways to improve is also to review your own games, and go through and try to understand where was the mistake. I mean, that's kind of obvious, but and also I like and I recommend to have a sort of I have a Google Doc, and you can like just put a screenshot or a link to the specific game that you have reviewed, where there is a particular theme or a moment that you think, oh, okay, this was something I would like to study more. I don't know, a certain opening or a certain plan, strategy that was there that you didn't notice before. So if you want to take notes, I think that's also, and with, you know, I don't know if you play on the phone, but if you play on the on your computer, laptop, you just open another window with the Google Doc and just throw it there, and it's easier then to get back to it. And of course to try to review the games of strong players, because that's where you learn from. Of course, it could be as well like a bit complicated. Sometimes I also have no idea why they play a certain moves, or at least it's not clear 100%. It might be different reason, also psychological reason, you know, like there might be some sort of psychological traps or whatever. But it's still good to go through, especially for the openings. I like to like have a look at what other people play in the opening. I think we can talk about that later as well. Don't know, any question or anything? I'm not sure.
I think for next time, I can definitely like list out what I think my weak points are, or what I think, you know, what I don't know what my weak points are, but what I think they might be.
Yeah.
And send that to you beforehand, and then we can see if that kind of makes sense for a kind of a lesson. I'm sure these guys here know also where they can, you know, they're not quite judoka.
Yeah.
And if that would help, we can do that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we can definitely do that, and I'll try to point out if there is something specifically that I think you should be more careful with, or you have to pay more attention to, or just some things like that. I want to say a couple more things, like in terms of resources. Apart from this kind of coaching, I think you've seen already on Discord that there are quite a few other things. I mean, there are YouTube channels that you probably know already. Like it's just mine, Randy's, and another one in Spanish by Pedro, who is a 17-year-old, and is probably the strongest Spanish player. There are a couple of books, the one by Randy Ingersoll and the other one by Joe Schultz, judoka. And I think you have at least one of the two. I mean, honestly, there is probably already everything you need to know. So probably what I'm gonna say is redundant, but if something is not clear, I guess it's always good to have someone to ask for. Ask for help or ask to some questions. Also, there is another book of puzzles. I don't know if you have seen that. There are like 60-70 Hive puzzles. Some of this also quite hard, but it goes from the very simple to very complicated. It's free. You don't need to buy anything. It's on. You can find it online. I can put the link later if you haven't seen it before. What else? So I'll just want to say quickly what I would like to do in the next sessions. Because at some point I was trying also to write a sort of a book, like a sort of a course. And I think Hive is complex enough, but he also has some kind of very simple structure and ideas that can be easily assimilated. And I mean, I don't know if you have seen Judoka's book. He has a kind of a philosophy behind it, which is the one of the martial arts.
Mhm.
So he sees the game in a certain way. Maybe I see it in a bit different way, or Randy's book is a bit different. It's a bit more analytical, I would say. I probably have more that approach. But I mean, it's just a matter of like I don't know, of words and metaphors. But in the end, like the main concepts are the same. So in Hive there is as well a sort of division between strategy and tactics. Although Judoka calls in a bit different way, Randy in a different way, but just to use the same jargon that is used in chess, you have strategy, that means like having a plan, a long-term plan, and tactics, which is basically what you can do in the short term. For Hive is maybe a bit different because there's no capture, but still there are pins. But I think this is quite useful again as a distinction, because my view of how to play the game relies a lot on strategic points. I mean, of course, you have to be good at both. You need to be able to kind of to calculate what's going to happen in the next 3-4 moves, right? So that's one skill, and visualize the board. I think it's what who said that they use a physical board as well for the someone told me that use a physical board to kind of check the variation instead of checking in your mind what's going to happen, which I mean is good, but at the same time, if you want to play real-time games, then it's much better. No, it's much better. It's just you are supposed to see in your head what's happening. You can't move the pieces on the board. But apart from that, there is another skill that is understanding where the game is going, and these are basically shortcuts that will help you to play a certain move without having to calculate everything. And like a very simple example is whenever there is a beetle placed by your opponent and you pin it without thinking too much. So there are some cases where you might want to think, right, what's the best way to go? Should I or should I not pin a beetle? Because in some cases you might think that you might gain some time to do something else. But I think that if you have some strategic principles, it becomes much easier to find the moves that you have to play next. And I think all boils down to 4 ideas. Randy actually has 3 principles. I think I will say 4 to be complete. And one is tempo, so how quickly you can get to the opponent queen, or how quickly you can try to get to a certain achieve a certain goal. The pillback, basically, which the judoka calls qualification for the win. So if you don't neutralize the pillback, you've noticed already that it's very, very hard to win. So that's like a very, very important point. Then there is angles of attack, which basically means that even if you have enough pieces but you can't reach the kill spot of your opponent, then it's not gonna work, right? Nothing is gonna happen. And then material, which is probably one of the most important. I will say material and the pillbag are the 2 most important things, at least to start with. And once you understand that very well, a lot of games become very easy, because you don't even need to worry about a lot of things. If you see you have a material advantage, you can relax a lot. Don't know if you know what I mean.
I think Randy calls it strength, right? Like
strength. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you have versus the other player.
Exactly. Or I think mobility or something like that. I think material is more how many pieces you have in general, like your reserve plus the pieces that you have. Yeah, your strength. So there is a bit of difference, of course, between what you have in reserve and what you have in play. But at the end of the day, what counts is what you have available, what is free to move. So even if you have a few pieces in reserve, but your opponent has a lot of ants, or you don't have many spawn points available, in the end, your strength or your material, however you want to call it, is not great. So it depends. Yeah, but I think once you keep these things in mind, it becomes very, very, like, much easier to understand what to do. Then, of course, then there is the point of how to do it, which is another set of skills. But at least you understand what to do, like what you should do. And another thing that I want to, I think in one of the session I would definitely go through it, is that, like, taking into account these 4 factors or 4 dimensions or whatever you want to call them, you really you can understand if you are playing for 2 or 3 results. This is something that I also came from chess, and I like the concept. I think in Hive is very important, because there are a lot of games you probably have noticed where the attack shift very, like, the attack can stop very easily at some point, and you don't realize how, but you don't have any more material, you can't finish your attack, and you're stuck, and you cannot go back. So it's very important to understand when to stop. So if at some point you cannot win anymore, so you're not playing for 3 results anymore, you're not playing for winning, draw, or a loss, you're basically just playing for a draw or a loss, you can't win anymore, then it's useless to keep attacking, right? Then you have to change your mindset on time. And so I think it's very important. And from a defensive perspective, it's very important as well. Because at least the way I see it is, if you prevent your opponent from winning, that's a good result already, right? That's a win already, in a way. Then you don't know if you're going to win, but if you prevent your opponent from winning, that's a good result. Of course, this is true especially for if you play black. If you play white, you might be a bit disappointed if you don't win. But again, I think this is more important than just trying to attack at all costs. At least from my perspective. That's why the example before, like, if there is a beetle and you can pin it, and you make sure that your opponent has no beetles available, that's already half of the game. Half of the of the work. And it's a typical mistake at the beginning, right? Kind of underestimating how beetles are important. Then, of course, there's also the other side of the coin. So beetles are not everything, and in some cases you can allow a beetle to get on top of the hive, but you get usually something else in return. So what I like to, like, the 4 factors I said before: temp, angle of attack, pill bag, like neutralization of the pill bag, and material or strength. I like to think them as dimensions, like 3 space and 1 time dimension, something like that, and they interact with each other. So you can have like a trade-off between these. So you can sacrifice some material to get more tempo, for example, like if you attack. Or when you defend, you can give up, you can let your opponent neutralize the pillback, for example, but in return you get more material because you use that move, 1 or 2 moves, to put more ants on the board. Or there are all sorts of things. Or you can negate your opponent the right angle of attack, but you allow again the beetle of your opponent to get on top of the hive. So if you know how to have this trade-off, then you understand much better what to do. I think that's how I like to see the game. Of course, this is just like one part. Then we need to be more practical. I know this is very vague, but I hope it makes sense. But then we'll go through I would like to go through other things as well, like how to practically understand what move to play, what typical shapes we need to are good or are bad, some example of end games, which are quite long sometimes, but they're quite useful because, as I said again, sometimes you prevent your opponent from winning, but you don't know if you're going to win, and many times you need to win in the end game. So it might take a more extra 50 moves, 100 moves, but you can win in the end. Like, I don't know if you've played with Happy Kiwi. He's a very, very good hand game player, and I think he said that he thinks there are no draws in Hive. Like, so there is always a way to win. And like, is famous for dragging games for like 300 and more moves, but in the end, like, be assured that he's gonna win. So there are also this kind of things to practice, and then of course some openings, which I think is the most, like, is the most fun part of the game. Having a sort of repertoire of openings and try to predict what kind of opening your opponent is playing. But I mean, that's not like the highest priority, I think. As long as you have a few, like a couple of openings a couple of setups you know well, then it's fine. I think then it's okay. Anyway, sorry, I've been talking too much probably. And if you don't have, I mean, I don't know if you have any kind of question, I'll try to share a screen, and I want to show the game that I played today with the timer. Because I think they were quite interesting things. Okay, so this is the new platform for folks that haven't seen it yet. It's not publicly available yet, but it's getting there. I think a lot of the main features are there. Needs to be kind of garnished a little bit, embellished a little bit, and add a few things, but so, spoiler, Dimer won this game against me. So everything I said before, yeah, don't take it too seriously. Forget about it.
You're very kind. It was very much a hand-holding experience.
Okay, I gave a few advice, a few tips during the game, but still, I think you played pretty well, and I think, yeah, as we go on, if you share your thoughts, that would be nice. So we can see at what point, like, the game started to, because I think it was at some point it was quite okay for me, and then because you made a couple of mistakes, again, the attack was almost stopped, but then I made a couple of mistakes, and eventually I lost. With a bit of help as well by myself, but still. Okay, so any question about opening in general? So we both have used a sort of anti-spawn setup. The anti-spawn is the classical anti-spawn is this one with the pillbug and the ladybug and the queen sandwiched in between. But yeah, I mean, if anti-spawn could also be, I mean, it's basically anything that protects your queen against the beetle changing the color of that hexagon and then dropping pieces around. That's the main idea. So if a beetle covers the queen, then you don't have to worry about direct drops. You know what direct drops are, right?
Yes.
When you just put the pieces from the reserve directly there. This one with the grasshopper and the ladybug that I've used is a bit more modern, let's say. I mean, I talk like I've had 100 years, but it's just that in the 10 years, things kind of change a lot. Openings changed quite a lot. And this one is, I mean, not many people have played it before. This one I played as black. Nevier or Veme is name of a guy who used it quite a lot recently. So far so good. I place the mosquito and you pin the mosquito. Perfect. I mean,
I do have a question about the anti-spawn setup.
yeah.
Do you find it better to try to play it in this Z formation, or at least where your queen, if you're black, not playing inline, so that you can spawn off your first piece and not just the pillbug or the ladybug in your instance without being pinned to your B?
That's a good question, and I think there is no universal answer. It's just a different kind of game.
Okay.
It's just you have to keep in mind that with the C opening, so when the queens are on the same side of the initial starting box, it's more likely that you have either some rings or some spaces that you want to reach, but that will like open the way, like 3 other pieces, right? So it's just a different kind of game, but I don't think any player will tell you, oh, this is better Z or this is better C. I think it's just a matter of taste, to be honest. So yeah, that's it.
Would it be safe to say that more games end in draws in the C shape beginning?
Yeah, this is definitely something happening. Although I mean, we don't have like data, I think, that proves that. I mean, like numbers. We don't have like a database yet, but like from personal experience of a lot of players, yeah, I think that's more likely, and it makes sense as well. So you can use it as well as a sort of weapon if you play against a stronger player. If a draw is okay for you as a result. But not necessarily like Randy Ingersoll, he likes the C openings a lot, I think. He plays them against anyone. So it's just that the patterns are a bit different. That's it. We can also have a look at the differences between C and Z at some point. I was just saying that pinning the mosquito was a very good idea from White, so good job. I'll go on with my ant, but you still see the screen, right? That I share.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Then I pin the ant here. Again, here there will be other possibilities, right? You can pin it here, or you can pin it here as well, like in line or on the other side. I just decided to go for this because it's easier to free the hopper whenever White attacks in the space, like bottom left to the queen, for example, will create the ring. Judoka calls this X-trap. And also creates a gate here between the queen and the black hand, so the pieces cannot slide into the space to the left of the queen.
Just in case you're unaware, we can no longer see your mouse. At least I cannot.
You can't see the mouse either.
Uh-uh.
But you were seeing it before.
Well, I'm not sure if I was seeing it. Maybe I wasn't.
There it is. Yep, I can see the mouse now.
Oh, okay.
You must have had to click into the browser.
Okay.
Yeah, there it is. You can see it.
Okay. Okay. Maybe let's go closer to the a topical moment. Because so far so good. I mean, I don't have anything to say. I mean, you've been playing for 3 weeks and you play already like openings like a pro almost. Maybe the beetle here was not. Maybe it's a little bit slow. I will go for an ant first. But on the other hand, you also give beetle power to the mosquito. So there is always the threat to climb on top of the hive using the mosquito and then get to ladybug, then hopper, then pillbug, right? And then qualify for the win. So okay, maybe it's not a bad idea.
It's definitely something new I was trying. I haven't done this before, and I wasn't sure which way you were going yet, so I just kind of split the difference between.
No, I think it's okay. I don't think it's a mistake. In general, when you are in doubt, I always think that placing ants down is you can't go very wrong. I mean, you've seen that. I think you all three know that. That
Let me
ants,
ask you a question.
yeah.
Instead of placing that beetle,
Mhm.
and then I would have placed an ant, where would be the best spot to place an ant at? Because I know you're going to cover it with. Actually, you don't have anything to cover it with, so really, it's a free
Yeah.
place right now.
Yeah, exactly. That's why. I would probably still sacrifice an ant. And then the idea is to play the ladybug here. I don't know if do you see my
Click back into your browser, maybe.
here?
No,
You see my
no, now I do.
Yep, now we do. Yep.
okay, like to the right of the pillbug.
Okay.
In order to free my mosquito, and having like
Mhm.
this kind of compact setup. Because I of course, if you have a mosquito and an ant down, I cannot. Like I could sacrifice 2 ants, but then I just lose all my ants, right? So in some cases you have to do it because there's no much else to do, or because it's good to like fight against the opponent ants. But if you are not like in a particular danger, sometimes it's good to play other pieces first, or try to rearrange the pieces you have, so that you can place the ants in more favorable position, for example. But again, I think the beetle here was fine. I place my ant here. You could have, for example, pinned my ant using the mosquito. Of course, that would mean that that the idea that you were trying to play would change, right? That you would go for a different plan. So probably you've done okay not to do that, because then the beetle would be a bit too far from my queen anyway. Then what was the point of placing the beetle right in the first place? This beetle here, I'm not sure was the best idea, to be honest. Again, I would probably have placed an ant, simply because I here again, I think is one of the things I was trying to say before. You don't have to think too much, but pinning the beetle is a good idea here anyway. I mean, maybe there are other good moves, but I think I couldn't go very wrong with this. First, because the beetle is threatening to climb on top of the the ant, and then covering the mosquito, and then probably the queen or the pillbug, which seems slow, but still, I don't have like counterplay against your queen very quickly, so it's still a good plan. And why would I allow that? And at the same time, I also pin ant and the beetle, right? So I have also a material advantage in the long run, which is something that it's very easy to like regret later on.
Sure. And it holds like this for a while.
And yeah, and exactly, and they will stay there for a while, and which is what happened in the game, right? Another thing here that I think is a mistake was this placement, because well, could you see why this could be a mistake for the other two that are watching? Why this ant placement could be not great?
Would it possibly be because of your ladybug can shift and now get your mosquito out?
Yes, correct. So that's the idea. So, but the main point is that the white ant number 1 is in a bidirectional pin, which is very often a very bad place for a piece to be. It's a very typical hive structure, that hive pattern that is pretty bad. Another option for me was also actually to, I didn't play it in the end, but I thought about it, just to shift the pin with my black ant 1 and pin the new ant that you placed. Because at that point, I will have really a good material advantage, because the white ant number 1 will be stuck for a very long time. The problem would be that I would have to give tempo in return, right? Because I moved an ant that I've moved already, so I lose a tempo, but I would gain in material in the long run. Again, I'm not sure if it was the best move, but it was another idea. But what I played is what you said. So basically, my ladybug. Well, I'll just show. My ladybug can get in here, and now that white ant is stuck there, and my mosquito gets free, which was not possible before, right? Because the move before, if I try to free the mosquito, I would free at the same time the white ant as well. This is another sort of hive structure that is kind of important to know, to notice. This kind of I don't know how to call it, like a U, like I mean, it's not really a pocket.
They call it a pocket, right?
Yeah, it's not really a pocket, because I mean, that's, well, again, maybe this is just jargon. I don't call it pocket because for pocket I mean something that I could use to actually place a piece safely.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a pocket for anyone because it's not a spawn point, right? No one can place a piece inside. So I don't know. I mean, you can call it pocket if you want. I just it feels to me it's a different thing. Although the shape is the same, but since it's not the pieces are not all of the same color, I prefer to call it in a different way, which I don't know what, like maybe an omega, or I don't know, a U shape, something. Anyway, the point is that usually when you have this kind of structure, the pieces that are in the middle are the ones that count, that are important. So for example, if those two pieces in the middle are of the same color, then that color has sort of an advantage there, because you can free both pieces if you fill that space in the middle, right? In this case, they're both colors, like there's a black mosquito and the white ant, so it's not convenient to just get the piece there, because if I did that, then the white ant would get out and pin the mosquito actually. So I would just make a favor to white. Of course, the black mosquito is also next to the black pillbug, so things might get a bit more complicated, but in general, it's something that I wouldn't think straight away to do. But after your move, it was clear. It was like, okay, this is the time. It's now or never, right? So the white ant moved away, and then my mosquito. I mean, you could say that I actually traded a ladybug for a mosquito, because my ladybug is stuck. But of a mosquito that moves like an ant is definitely good and better, probably better than a ladybug there, right? Plus, my black queen has a bit of free space. It can actually move around a little bit. It's not pinned yet. Actually, yeah, white now played like that. You converted your mosquito into a beetle, which, yeah, it was a good idea. The other option was just to pin my queen. Although I think it was not. I think your move was better, because pinning my queen will mean also that the mosquito doesn't have any power, right? So pinning the queen, but you don't know how to neutralize the pillbug. That's not a good idea. So okay, good. Convert into a beetle
not
first.
Still be 3 tempo to the pillbug regardless.
To cover the pillbug.
Mm-hmm.
It
What
is.
other benefit does that move have over just climbing?
I mean, the other idea is, oh yeah, sure. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Actually, it's an extra tempo, so yeah, it's probably better to just cover the ladybug, right? The white ladybug. It's actually quicker. The only thing that
hindsight, of course, so nothing against you, Dimer.
Oh no, I was actually, I think in my head I was seeing him very far from Black Queen, or from the pillbug with the other beetle. So
The
I was trying to get up next to the other beetle to get up to the hive.
So the thing that I could do actually against this, so if the mosquito climbed on the ladybug, I could place a new beetle in like basically between my hopper and the pillbug, and that space, and that basically defends against the mosquito.
Okay.
While your approach during the game actually is a bit harder to stop, although it does take one extra move. Plus, the other problem is that you convert it into a beetle, but so you almost certainly neutralize the pillbug, but I also have an extra ant in reserve. So you're kind of giving up on the ant game. Like you say, okay, I don't care if you get the outer control of the hive as long as I neutralize the pillbug, which again might be it's kind of risky as well. If the black queen was pinned somehow, I would say it would make more sense. Here it's a bit more risky. But you say, okay, what am I gonna do? What should I do? So maybe you should. Another idea is try just to get the beetle closer to the center of the action, because what happened in the game was that with my mosquito, I actually pinned your beetle, and that I think was a very good point for me. No, I wouldn't do it right now because I free your ant, but eventually I could do it. And once you get both mosquito and beetle on top of the hive, at least you get a good advantage, a good beetle advantage. There is often this theme of having like an ant advantage against beetle advantage, right? Like one of the two players can play more on the outside of the hive and the other one plays more on the inside with the beetles. It's a bit more slow, but still could be dangerous. But okay, well, let's see what happened in the game, because I mean, still I got quite in trouble, so I can't really say that I played the best moves. Here you played, for example, a very good move. Like I placed an ant next to my queen and you pinned it straight away, which I think is the perfect move. Maybe in line would be better. Like why did you place the ant here and not next?
I think I placed it there to make sure that you can't spawn anything to the bottom left of your black queen to make us stir.
Okay.
I'm a little scared of circles right now in this situation.
But
Ladybug
you have to think of what would happen in that ring. The thing is that usually making the ring is not good. So if your opponent makes a ring, I mean, of course, there are rings that are beneficial for the one who creates them, but most of the time it's actually detrimental. So if I place a piece there, like bottom left of my queen, you can just move your white ant 2 away and pin my black ant 1. You just shift one space to the bottom left. And I end up with basically all the pieces pinned. Well, all those pieces around the queen pinned. So I don't think it's something you have to be scared of. Pinning, like, because this, the way you decide to pin the black ant 3, the one next to the queen, actually created some problem later on, I think, because I could free my ant. Again, this is another big theme, right? Like the way you should pin a piece, and sometimes there's no like one answer, or I mean, at least it's not clear to me or to other top players, I think. But here I would have gone for inline pin, so the space bottom right, just to be more safe. Here I played this move, which is probably not great actually. I was trying to do a pin replacement, so just use the spider to pin the beetle and free my ant, but actually you reacted in a good way, because now I can't do that. I could do that, but if I use the spider, then the beetle is free and can actually cover my ant. So yeah, you basically stopped my pin replacement. Good. I decide to get my beetle into the pocket, or yeah, whatever that is. Also because the spider was actually threatening to pin my beetle at the same time. I mean, I'm not sure if it was exactly the best move, but still it was kind of dangerous. And I also force you basically to move the mosquito on the pillback, because if you don't do that, you played it correctly, but if you don't do that, I will cover your mosquito, right? So makes sense. But I also get something in return here. So again, I decided that letting you, I mean, you would have covered my pillback anyway, but I kind of sort of force you now to do it, and in return I get material advantage. Like the shape of the hive is changed in a way that is convenient for me, right? You have spider, beetle, and ant stacked in this like string, and yeah, they probably stay there for a while. Then during the game I also made a mistake and they didn't work out well, but in general I think the position is quite good for black now.
And you limited the spawn points on top of the spider as well.
And yeah, exactly, and there are basically no white spawn points for white available. Okay, your hopper gets in there, yeah, with the idea of I mean, it targets one of the 2 kill spots, the one up to the queen, like above the queen. Here I pin your beetle. So another like good alternative option was probably to just climb up with the beetle.
Go on.
Yeah, I think
that would
have...
we talked about it and I completely didn't see it.
Yeah, I see. It's just sometimes you forget about, especially because the shape of the hive changed quite a lot in a few moves, and my mosquito was actually there to pin the ant, right? So it was kind of like performing like had a function there, but now it doesn't have it anymore. So I could use it for. I can use it to pin the beetle. Also, having 2 beetles on top of the hive is quite good, actually. So if the beetle reach the grasshopper, the black grasshopper, then I think it's still quite complicated. The only thing that apart from the material sort of advantage in the long run, the other thing I'm still happy about is that the queen is still free to move. So worst case scenario, I could actually move the queen away and I might save my ass in some situations, but I still think it was not necessary to move it. Anyway, I'll pin the beetle. This one as well, I didn't like it too much, because you're not really, you are potentially threatening to get in there, but both the kill spots, the empty spaces that you want to reach, are trigger points, which means that every time you fill one of this, I can free one of my pieces. Mm-hmm. So if you fill the one bottom left of the queen, then the black ant is free. Or if you fill the one left to the queen, I can free my grasshopper. It's also true that you would free your ladybug, like things get more complicated, and this is where one has to like stop and actually calculate. Not just for calculate, I mean just try to visualize more moves in advance, because just using strategic thinking is not enough, right? It could be a good move, it could not be. I think we talked about this during the game as well, because like you asked me, but I said, well, I'm not sure. It could be a good move, but but yeah, you need to like go on and see what happened. Here I played this move. I think my like I was just scared at that point to create that ring, because I felt that so my idea is that when you get with the hopper in that space, bottom left of the queen, then my black ant is free to go, right? But if that happened one move before with ant here, there is still the ring there, so I can take advantage of that in the best way. Like I could, but then you actually break the ring. or if I do break the ring, then at that point you can really move your white ant number 3 and reposition it, and then pin my ant in a line. So I thought this was okay, but it didn't work very well in the game, actually. This spider here that I actually thought was a mistake again, apparently wasn't. We'll see now. I put my my ant here back simply because, yeah, I want to create a gate, right? And the spider cannot get in. You cover the queen, okay, correct. Maybe this was actually this was the last moment I could actually have moved the queen. Maybe I should have moved the queen right now to avoid any other problem, but I didn't. So correctly, you cover my queen. I cover the beetle, which maybe was also a bit slow. Maybe I should have. The other option was to use this, move my spider to the left to free my beetle, and I probably should have done that, because at this point I was actually confident that my position was good, and I decided it was time to counterattack, or at least, you know, try to cover your queen eventually. And I thought it would be useful as well, the mosquito there, because he could have covered the white hopper in the next move, right? But there was no time for that, so I should have thought even more defensively and moved my spider to the left and free my beetle, my black beetle number 1. But I didn't. You went in, and now things gets complicated. What I have done is just shift the ant here to keep a gate, because if I had pinned the white ant in line, so bottom right, then you have a white ant number 2 that is free, and they would actually be able to get into that kill spot, and then I would actually almost lose. Maybe, yeah, I think probably lose. So I thought I would keep the gate there. You pin my spider, which I think is okay. It's like you get some material back for sure. And here was my mistake. I decided to pin back your ant, but I wasn't. Yeah, I was just reckless. Because this opened the way for the spider. I was actually very focused on a different kind of plan. I thought with the spider you would actually pin on the right my ant, and then free your white ant using a hopper. But you don't need to do this, because you can just go in there. And here I think was my like final mistake, which was going out with the pillbug. So at this point you have 2 ways to defend. One is to get out with the hopper, right? I had 2 ways to defend. One is to go out with the hopper, probably to the bottom left, and the other one is go up with the pillbug. And I thought it would be still good having the pillbug there, but unfortunately it wasn't, because you have a simple way to reach the kill spot bottom right, and at that point my pillbug is actually hindering my hopper from jumping away. So the other way would have been, I think, would have been okay. So the idea would be my black hopper gets out bottom left, and the white hopper number 1 gets in the space that was just taken by, occupied by my hopper before. And then at that point I could go with the pillbug up. And that would have been probably better for me. Not sure if I would have survived, but definitely better. Instead, I played this move, which was wrong. And after this move, I really don't have much to do, because now you are threatening to win in 2 moves, right? The hopper gets in the space to the right, and then the last move, just the mosquito goes down. And and I don't have much to do here. I can try to pin it, but after this move, again, you're threatening to win in 2 moves again. Actually, sorry, in 1 move, because the hopper, the hopper number 1, right, is taking the kill shot. Is gonna take the kill shot. So I can cover it, and now little puzzle. White wins in 2 moves. Dimer knows already because he played this game, but the other 2 guys can try to guess.
Grasshopper freeing ant and then ant going in.
Grasshopper, which hopper? Number
That one
2.
on.
Yeah,
Hopping
going
the
where? Going up.
Hopping the queen. Yeah.
This wouldn't work because it would free my black hopper. Right? Then my black hopper would be free and would go out, and then you don't actually have enough pieces to finish. The point here is that my yeah, you have to reach that kill spot, right? Top right of the black queen, without changing the structure of the hive. Otherwise, my black hopper would get away, and then it's gone. So with the pieces, there are mosquito where? Sorry.
I'm not sure. Mosquito can act as a beetle.
Yeah, but then it will go back up, right? And
then it's 3 turns. Yeah.
Then you need an extra turn again. No, the thing is, you need to free another piece that can get into this kill spot.
The spot to the right of the black grasshopper, it has to be the last spot that's taken. Otherwise, you're freeing that grasshopper to jump out.
Yeah.
White ant to the left of white spider.
Correct.
Ladybug takes the kill shot.
Yes.
Took me a little long to figure that one out.
Correct. Yes. So this is the way. The ant gets there. Doesn't matter which ant. And now I have no way to stop it, because even if I cover the ladybug with a mosquito, then there's a hopper underneath, and then they will take the kill shot. So at this point, yeah, the game was won by white. And of course, like, to predict this 4 or 5 moves ago would have been quite complicated, like even for me and for other players, I'm sure. But once you get into this position, I think you can start to think of particularly which is the last kill spot you have to take. The order of the kill spots is pretty important, and it's actually one of the main, like, defensive resources from the player who's defending, right? He tries to set this trigger spots so that every time the attacker fills one of the kill spots, then the defender can free another piece. But if the attacker has the right, like, follows the right order, then it's fine. And this is what happened in this game here. So pretty good. So I don't have anything more to teach you. Thank you. And very, very good. The first game was already too good for for this format. But in my defense, I also gave him some tips during the game. So okay.
There's no face that needs to be saved here. This is definitely like we talked through a lot of the moves.
I definitely, like, if this was definitely the mistake, the biggest mistake. I completely overlooked this, that the spider would get in. I was just very sure that I had enough defensive resources. Again, I played a bit fast as well because I kind of instinctively knew I had enough defensive resources. But it's, again, it is something that comes with experience. Like, I have a free pillback for now, and I have a hopper that can kind of easily get out, or at least potentially get out at some point. And I have 2 gates in place, basically. One between the Black Ant 1 and the Ladybug, and one between the Black Ant 3 and the Beetle, the Black Beetle. Plus, white has only 1 Grasshopper in reserve. So all these elements combined in my head were, okay, I'm safe. Without actually thinking too much what I have to do. But then I end up playing the wrong move. So sometimes, of course, you need to put into practice what you're thinking. But many times it helps you to get in the right direction. If I had spent more time on it, of course, I mean, I probably would have seen that the spider getting in was very dangerous. But yeah.
So just to give Dimer a hard time, was he the one who saw the mosquito opening up the white ant to then fill to hit the ladybug, or did you point that out to him? The last 3 moves?
No, I mean, I told him there was a win in 2. But
that was after he had already filled with the mosquito.
Yeah, no, the mosquito going down was his move. So
good move.
Like good move from him. Like definitely, yeah. There's nothing from me there.
And then I had to take lunch, so he said win in 2, and I said okay, let me go get some energy. And I'll take a look. Otherwise.
So yeah, I gave a little bit of a hint, but I'm sure he would have found it. If not, then if white plays another move, then I think I can survive. For example, I can. Well, yeah, no, I mean, I can survive. I just have to place another beetle, for example, near the mosquito, so that I'm ready to cover the ladybug as well. Or I could move my black ant number 1 to the bottom right of the black beetle 1 and free that beetle. Once I free that beetle, I think I have good chances to defend. So I think you have to really take the chance now. And he did, so good. Okay, sorry this maybe took a bit too long, but I hope it was interesting to see. Is there anything, Dimer, that you want to add to like any particular position or moment of the game where you I don't know, because at some point you told me you felt you were a bit stuck, and
yes, for sure. I mean, when you had me at the end game, I was definitely like sweating and kind of feeling pinched for where to spawn, but I think that spider placement really changed the dynamic of the game a little bit.
I still, well, honestly, I don't know what else. I probably wouldn't have placed the hopper there though at all, I think.
Yeah.
I think I would have tried to. There's another well, let me think. There's another kind of team here that is trying to free some of your other pieces. Like if you look at that string of pieces that I said before that are quite that are all locked for white, the spider, that's kind of shape again, but then you have the beetle and ant in the middle. So if you fill that space in the middle, then in the pocket, then you can free the ant and the beetle potentially.
My thinking was I was scared of doing a hopper fill because then it would have freed your beetle, and then I knew once you had the ant game and beetle, it would be hard for me to come back from it.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's why I don't think you should play straight away. But for example, you can cover the beetle first with a mosquito, and then get with the hopper in there. Of course, that means that you're not like attacking the queen anymore, so you're kind of shifting plan a bit. But it's not unthinkable. Yeah. Or wait 1 second after this.
I think to add
yeah.
something that is probably hard for a lot of us new players is to grasp how do we react once you shift a queen with the pill bug. If that happens, usually, I don't know, speaking for myself, my whole plan gets thwarted. And even I try to think about when you do that, where you might go if I can't stop it. But
Mhm.
you
So
did
you-
that to me in a couple of our games, and I'm just now the one we're currently playing. I'm completely at a loss on how to react.
the time play with you.
Yep,
Or
the one that we are playing. It's currently playing that one there, I believe.
let me see. Oh no,
So
I
I
haven't
believe
moved.
I don't remember whether you shifted. I know you at least shifted your pill bug. I think at one point you might have shifted your queen as well. But I know
I-
we've played games where you've shifted your queen on me, and me not being able to stop that had really
Mhm.
confused me.
I mean, depends. So it could be. The thing is, the cure could be worse than the poison. So in some cases, you don't have to worry too much about it, and I think most of the time is the best thing. Well, in the sense that moving the queen away most of the time means that the hive gets more stretched. So I usually get more pieces stuck there. So you just take advantage of that, having more control of the hive. This will mean that also you can attack the queen very quickly, but it doesn't matter. Like, you don't have to go to attack the queens as soon as possible. You kind of take advantage of what is the downside of that move. Then it depends, of course. In some situation, if you have invested a lot in the attack and I move the queen away, and then your pieces are stuck, then there is a problem.
Out.
Then there's a problem.
But myself out on a lot of games.
Yeah, but that means that there is a problem before then. You know, like the way to attack was probably not correct. Like you have to make sure that doesn't happen. If leaves all your pieces stuck, or a lot of your pieces stuck. So I think, but we can have a look at some games actually maybe next time.
Yeah,
if you
I'll
want.
see if I can find one.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let me see.
I actually have to run now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Actually, it was taking a bit too long. But hopefully, I don't know. I hope you enjoyed it and it was good and it makes sense. And we can talk again in, I don't know, in a week or two. Let's see.
Yeah, we'll schedule it. I enjoyed this. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, I'm glad.
Yeah, this is great, man.
Cool.
Really appreciate it. And I mean, just to say about the Hive community, very welcoming and doesn't hide. You know, you and a lot of the top players are very open and willing to expose your secrets.
I'm glad. I like this a lot actually. It's one of the best thing, to be honest, because it is like almost as complex as other games, but it's kind of new as well, right? It's like only 20-year old, so things evolve, and we kind of witness this development. And I have to say, a lot of the people, yeah, as you said, are very friendly and open to share tips. So why not? Okay. Thank you very much again, and I'll see you. Yeah, I don't know. Well, we'll find another time. For me, is midnight and 30 minutes, so it's time for me to go sleep as well.
Thanks, Francesco.
Get your rest and we'll plan something. Talk to you all soon.
Cool.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Have a good day or evening, or yeah.